how to be a good storyteller and writer from someone who won certificates from writing stories and wrote a story on Wattpad and had almost 100k readers. Okay, so now let's get started. I'm gonna use my brother's phone because I wrote the tips down because I was gonna forget them. So let's get started. Tip number 1. I feel like this is low-key one of the most important bit. Don't use fancy words just to sound smart. Trust me guys, simple language is much better than you think, because complex words and fancy words don't create that emotion. Because you hardly use complex vocabulary day-to-day time. So if you want your readers to understand how you feel and like stuff like that, you gotta have to use simple words, because simple words, it's like you're telling the story. It's like when you're talking to someone, like your friends, your family, people that you're really close to, you want to tell them the story. That's how the storytelling works. For example, you are not going to say something like, she experienced an overwhelming sense of apprehension as he departed. No. You're not going to say that. What are you going to... Because when you say that, right, because when you say something like that, it's like the readers will like... Majority of the time, the reader won't understand what you're trying to say. So you could say something like, she was scared to watch him leave. That's it. Like, so simple, so understanding. It's just... like, it's like it makes your story very easy to understand and to read and stuff like that, and then the person doesn't have to stop and be like, wait a damn minute, what the heck is this person talking about? Simple words does not mean your story is boring. Remember, having your story be like, the clarity of your story is much better than having complex words and high vocabulary just for you to sound smart. No. You writing a story makes you smart enough, so you don't have to worry sounding smart. And if you use simple words, you're gonna sound stupid. No. Tip number 2. Okay, this one, I'm not gonna lie, you have to use this one, or else your audience won't understand how you want them to feel. Like, you want them to feel the character. You want them to like not just understand what the character is going through. You want them to feel what the character is going through. So that's why you use emotive language. Okay, so emotive language is genuinely one of the best thing you could use. I use emotive language a lot during my exams and everything. Like, those are the things that saved me. Emotive language is one of the things that actually saved my grades. So for example, let's say you said something like, she was sad when he left. No. That is not creating anything. That doesn't mean like just reading something. That's not creating the emotion, the feeling. It's not creating that. You could actually say something like, she watched him walk away and looked back hoping he would do the same. She wanted to stop him, she wanted to call his name, but she couldn't. You see, you just feel the emotion. You just feel like how she wants him so bad, but she just couldn't call for his name. You get what I mean? She just let him go even though she wanted him so bad. That just shows that... you get what I mean? That shows the emotion. You need to you need to make your audience feel the emotion, because you want your audience to picture the situation and feel what your character is going through. Okay, guys, tip number 3. Use short sentence. Trust me, use short sentence, because short sentence genuinely makes your audience stop. They will stop and think for a moment. You want to break the rhyme. You don't want them to just stuck there and keep on reading the whole paragraph being extremely detailed, and when they're extremely detailed, you are losing the plot and they are also losing the plot. So now you become confused and then they become confused, and now a lot of readers and listeners will just either stop listening or stop reading, because what the heck is happening? You don't want that. Okay, because you want your audience to like stop and think what just happened. for example, you would say something like, she watched him disappear into the distance, wishing she would tell him everything she kept inside for years. Full stop. Full stop. And then you say he never came back. He never came back. The sentence that he never come back. He never did. He never came back. That sounds so hard. Like, it's just like a harsh feeling and harsh reality of the character that you're talking about, the character that you're writing about. That's how she felt at the moment. The guy that she truly loved never came back into her life ever again. So you want your characters to feel it. And please, just because I said you should make your sentence short, that does not mean all of your sentence should be short. Please, contrast is important. Balance it out. Make it balance. You get what I mean? Make it balance. Tip number 4. Please, when I'm reading stories, I've seen a lot of like writers just introduce a lot of characters at the same time. Please don't do that. Please don't do that. That's a big no. Yeah, that's a big no. Because when you introduce too many characters at the same time, your audience will be confused because they have to start keeping up with everyone. And then the more they start to keep up with everyone, then they will start to forget about the other plots, like who is who, like whose story is whose, like who is Sarah, who is Larry, who is James. No, you can't. Like, genuinely, your audience will be like, who are these people? Who genuinely are these people? Because what is this writer and story like, what is this writer trying to tell me? Because, like, what is this writer trying to do? You don't want that, do you? You want your audience to just follow through and understand what you're trying to make them feel. You can add characters later on, okay? Like, just when the story is about to get more complicated, you add more characters to make it more complicated, but you don't just drop too many characters at the same time. No, you don't do that. Please don't do that. Because rather than saying Sarah, Larry, Maya, and some. Rather than saying that, no, you don't say that. You say Sarah had a best friend, the one and only, whatever, like Maya. I'm sorry, Maya. Like, like something like that. You introduce them little by little. Please, guys, not every characters need a name. If they are not important enough, don't give them name. If they're not gonna add anything to the plot, don't give them name. Just call them the teacher, the brother, the sister, the mom. You get what I mean? Like, sometimes not all characters need a name. You just call them whatever they are. Like, they don't need names, because those names, again, they're just gonna confuse your audience, and you don't want that. This actually, out of everything that I told you, tip number 5 is low-key one of the most important things, because it is so important that I feel like every writer and storyteller should actually, like, by the way, when I say this, I'm not saying don't listen to your audience, don't try to like take tips from them. This is different. What I'm trying to say is that don't force the ending based on what your audience want them. Like, two characters sometimes don't have to be together. Just because your audience is shipping them to be together does not mean they should end up together. Because remember, what you write and what you tell has an impact. Every story has an impact. It influences some people. Every person reading that story, at least, let's say like 5 people reading, at least 2 people out of 5 will be influenced by what you are saying. Like, we should not romanticize some kind of concept like toxic relationship. If you're gonna write about a toxic relationship, please don't give her a happy ending. Please don't do that, because that's just wrong. Like, we should not be doing that. Some people will genuinely stay in a toxic relationship because of the things that we say and the things that we influence. So please be careful with what you say and write, because it has an influence. But yeah, because sometimes the better ending, the happy ending, is these two toxic characters that are in love walking away from each other. That ending is better than two toxic people being together, because that's a big no. Toxic people do not deserve to be with each other. So yeah, and if you're toxic, please. So yeah, this is my 5 tips that could make you become a good storyteller and a good writer. So bye, lovelies.